We're on top of Mount Scott at golden hour, and this may be Oklahoma's most underrated landscape.
I'll be honest with you. I consider myself a wildlife photographer. Landscapes make me nervous. The subject doesn't breathe, it doesn't move, doesn't give me any indication of what it's about to do. And yet, I'm here at the top of a granite mountain in Oklahoma, waiting for the light to go down. What might surprise you, the most technically challenging shot that I have taken this year wasn't the Milky Way in a gorge. It wasn't a bison herd at dawn. It was a mountain at 5 p.m. in June.
Mount Scott's the high point of the Wichita Mountains, 2,464 feet. There's a paved road that goes to the summit, and it makes the access so easy. But what's not easy is the photography. The exposed granite, wide sky, no fixed subject to anchor a frame, and every composition is a choice you have to make from scratch, with no wildlife to tell you where to look. This is the third video from the Wichita Mountains trip. Parts 1 and 2 were about the Holy City and the bison. And in both of those, I was operating in my element. Zoom lenses, wildlife behavior, the car as a blind. But Mount Scott's asked me to put down my 200 to 600 and to think differently. I've said before that landscape photography is a personal weakness of mine. What this trip started to show me is that the discipline isn't as different as I thought it was. You're still reading light. You're still waiting for the right moment. The subject just doesn't move on its own, and that's the whole challenge. I arrived about 90 minutes before golden hour. The time wasn't optional, it was the whole strategy. I wasn't scouting for a location, I was scouting for where the light would be. Which faces of granite are west facing? Where does the shadow line fall? Where the rim light will hit first? Mount Scott faces south-southwest, and in June the sun sets west-northwest, which means the light rakes across the granite from the side rather than straight on. And that's directional light. That's what gives granite texture. Flat frontal light on granite just looks like concrete. But raking side light makes it look like it's been carved into. So I walked the west-facing ledges before I set up. Looked for where the light will arrive. And then position myself so that the shadow line is below my frame and the lit stone fills the upper third. I'm not trying to guess, I'm trying to set up the shot that I've already visualized. Now here's a tip that applies to any granite landscape. The histogram tends to lie to you. Granite in direct light blows out faster than you'd expect it to. It's essentially a mirror for UV. So you expose to protect the highlights. Even if the shadows in the foreground look like they're crushed on my screen, I can recover those shadows in post. What I can't recover is the blown out granite face. And I shoot in RAW.
I'd like to get these granite rocks, sort of use that as an anchor point for the foreground, and then go back here to these mountains that are probably, maybe 1,000 feet out.
Golden hour at elevation moves faster than you'd expect. You think you have 45 minutes. You have about 20. The light arrives on the summit first, the highest granite faces, and then it descends slowly toward the tree line. You're chasing it down the mountain. The composition challenge is the 2 exposure problem. The lit granite at the summit is 4 to 5 stops brighter than the shadow rock and the scrub at the base. You can't expose for both in a single frame without losing one of them. So you have a choice. Expose for the lit granite. Let the base go dark. Or shoot 2 frames and blend them in post. But I leaned into the contrast, the base and the shadows, the summit glowing. And that tension is the image. It's not a flaw in the exposure, it's the whole story of golden hour on a mountain. Bright where the light finds it, dark where it hasn't arrived yet, and you just have to commit the choice. And then the light started dropping off fast. I don't get a second chance if I blink. And suddenly, a coyote walked into the frame at golden hour on a granite ridge in Oklahoma, and suddenly I wasn't nervous about the landscape photography anymore because the rule still applied. Stay still, stay quiet, let the animal decide. In post, the granite image needs 2 things, a sky mask and shadow recovery. The sky is 2 stops hotter than the granite. And that's the advantage of shooting in RAW. I could mask them separately in Lightroom. I could bring down the sky to match the stone's tones and not make it look fake, to make it look like what my eye actually saw, that my camera couldn't capture in a single frame. For shadow recovery in the foreground rock, bring the shadows slider up until you start to see the texture in the base stone, but stop before it starts looking lifted. The goal is to see the rock there, not to make it as bright as the summit. The graduate between them is the shot. Use cooler temperature. Granted that golden hour reads warmer than it actually was, so I pull back toward the cooler side to avoid the Instagram orange effect. The warmth should feel earned, not applied. The edit isn't fixing the shot, it's finishing it. The shoot sets the ceiling. The edit decides how close you can get to it. Parts 1 and 2 of this series are in the description. The Holy City, the Bison Herd, the Cars, A Blind Approach. This is the 3rd piece, and they all work together. Here's what I came away with. The shared discipline between wildlife and landscape photography is patience and positioning. The difference is that wildlife gives you a reaction, a moment of behavior that tells you something about the animal. Landscape gives you a reveal. The mountain doesn't form, it just slowly becomes something different as the light changes, and then it's gone. As a wildlife photographer, I wait for the animal to reveal itself. In landscape photography, we have to wait for the light to reveal the place. The wait's the same, the patience the same. What you're watching for is different. It might surprise you that the coyote at golden hour was the moment the whole series clicked for me. I came to the Wichita Mountains for the bison. I stayed for the granite, and the granite gave me a coyote anyway. This place doesn't separate its subjects cleanly. It just puts everything into the same frame and lets you decide what the story is. You know, I came to the Wichita Mountains expected to check blocks. Oklahoma bison, check. Holy City, done. What might surprise you is how much the land pushed back. 3 videos later, I'm still thinking about what I missed. The light on the second morning, the longhorn in the road before sunrise, the shot I didn't set up in time. And that's the thing about a place like this. You can visit once and get the shot, or you can visit twice and start to understand it. I'll be back. Parts 1 and 2 of the series are in the description. If you're new here, this is what we do. Quiet places, long lenses, and enough patience to let the land decide. Subscribe if that sounds like your kind of photography, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay on the path. God bless.